Alright guys, real quick before we get into the video, I just want to give a massive thank you to the support I've had recently over the last week or so. It's been incredible. I never thought that any of my content would get any of the traction it currently has, and I'm really happy that you guys found my channel, and I'm really happy that you're enjoying what I'm making, and I'm going to keep giving it 110% for you, especially seeing as my sub count is climbing more than I ever thought it would do for a long time. So I'm going to keep trying to keep you guys entertained, and I cannot thank you enough again for the support I've been getting recently. So with that said, I'm going to get straight into the video, and I'm going to speak to you guys later. One of the first things I want to talk about when I talk about Battlebit Remastered and why it was such a good playtest and such a good game is I think that the communication between developer and consumer and playtester was incredible. The Discord was always full of comments suggesting improvements, and it was also full of replies and responses saying, we'll try this out, we're going to change this, or we have changed this. Everything that was an issue or everything that was going wrong, as well as everything that was going right, they were always ready to announce it. If the servers went down, they would say so, and they would just get them fixed straight away. If there was an issue in the game, like an audio bug, they would fix it within minutes, or even, like, I never noticed an issue go on for more than a couple of hours at least. And, you know, some people might have different experiences to me, but that's just my experience, and it's incredible to see a developer take this level of communication with people that are playtesting the game. In a time when game demos release far too close to the launch window of a game for any criticism to be taken on board and any suggestions actually developed, to see this game take a playtest approach and for it to actively be changed on the fly is something that I think more companies and developers should take notes from. This is what people want to see. They want to see the results of their critiques and their frustrations changed in a very noticeable way. Not just, oh, we'll add this into the patch notes for next time and then not release it in the patch notes anyway. I'm looking at you, 2042. On the subject of Battlefield, people have been comparing this game a lot to Battlefield. I wanted to touch on that a little bit, and I think that people are comparing this to Battlefield more so than games like Hell Let Loose and Squad, because this game delivers on a lot of what 2042 promised in such an extreme way. Remember in the launch trailers, Battlefield 2042 was going to have a dynamic, destructible environment with 128 players. And what did we get? Copy-paste holes. Like, there's very little destruction in 2042, besides, you know, set pieces, but this game has over 200 players on some maps with fully destructible environments, and sure, it might be low poly and less stress on a system to do such, but at least it delivers on what it's going to say it's doing. That's what's commendable here. It's the looks of the game never took away from the fact that it was gonna work, and to have this much going on screen at one time is seriously impressive stuff. And, you know, maybe some people are going to look into that and go, oh, you're just praising a really simple game for its very simple mechanics, but you got to realize that after going through what we've been through for the last year or so, to see this level of promise and fulfillment, it's something I wish we saw more of. In terms of general gameplay, this game is very much fun to play. The gameplay loop might be similar to other games, but what it delivers that I haven't experienced in a lot of games is the fact that a single objective can take an entire game to defend or capture. And it's not like, oh, take one objective and push to the next. It's take the objective, whoops, an entire squad has rocked up. There might be a spawn beacon in the trees. Whoops, there are actually 50 people pushing our 10 people on this objective. Do you see what I'm getting at? This game delivers a scale that people just want from other games. And I'm not saying that because this game isn't fun or it's not good. People want that in other games because if this game can deliver such a simple promise and execute it basically flawlessly, why can't others? You know, that's the point of driving home. If you want to take notes, again, take notes from this kind of game. It shouldn't be about graphics or necessarily about overbalancing things or overcomplicating things. You should have a target and just make it happen. And a lot of things are overcomplicated these days, and a lot of things are just scrapped because people don't know how to make them work in the actual product they've designed. Delving into gameplay more, I want to just again commend the fact that there's a lot of stuff here that was really different to come to find out. Like the dragging function, for instance, is hilarious. I cannot believe this game has a dragging function and most other games don't. And I know a lot of more hardcore games like Squad have this, sure, but I'm talking about the fact that soldier dragging was supposed to be a feature in Battlefield 5 of all games, and we didn't get that, but we got it here. We got that in this game. It needs to be in more games like this, a lot more. Simply because it changes the dynamic of a medic. If a medic has the opportunity to drag someone out of combat and into cover, they will take it. I've seen it happen countless times. And in other games, medics just seem to be there. They'll never really push themselves if the combat is too intense, and that's more than understandable. But the fact that this game gives you a sense of tension, waiting to be dragged out of combat. Have you just risked the life of a medic for no reason? Has your team lost a medic because you didn't skip the revive when it was necessary to? Or did you hold out hoping that the medic would, smoke everything out and drag you into combat just for someone to have flanked him with a submachine gun in the back of his head? It's things like that that really elevate the gameplay from simple to really complex. And I never thought I'd say the word complex about a game that looks like Roblox in a good way. Very briefly as well, I want to touch on the attachment system and how in-depth it is, and how commendable it is that a single attachment can have such an impact on a weapon in plus and minus ways. So what I mean by that is, a muzzle brake. Sure, you might get a little bit less recoil over single firing. Your muzzle velocity might, it's like basic stuff, but it's not just that it's the stuff you would expect. It's how much stuff is affected by a single attachment in a minor or a major way. You really got to think about how one attachment affects the performance of your weapon, and it's more in depth than I've seen in a lot of other games, and to the point where just because an attachment was good didn't necessarily mean that it improved my gameplay anymore. The attachment made the gun perform a little bit better, but it then started to show weaknesses if I was using it differently in other areas. And sure, you could say, oh, well, the gunsmith from Modern Warfare 2019 does the exact same thing, the Warzone, all that kind of stuff. And to that I would respond, no. We're not just talking about a straight up recoil decrease. We're talking about recoil decrease with a shit ton of negatives as well. And, I really hope that if you don't want to play this game for the stupid Roblox nature of it that's just so charming and fun to play, please experience the gunplay at least. Please look at the gunplay and say, I want to try this out, because it's just different to what's out there on the market currently, to the point where a couple of my friends struggle to adapt to it because it's just so different to what they play, and whether they liked it or not is irrelevant. Some people are going to dislike it, some people are going to love it. I love it, and I really think you should try it out just for the gunplay alone. It's something else entirely. Now, as for actual weapon variety, there is a hell of a lot. And a lot of maps, you're going to see so many sniper rifles and so many assault rifles. You're rarely going to see the LMGs. You're rarely going to see SMGs or DMRs for that matter. You're just going to see the same kind of weapons. But because there's so many different weapons to try that have strengths and weaknesses that other people love or hate, you're never really killed by the same few weapons over and over and over again. It's really good flow. It's an engagement can come down to, well, simply put, I have more damage over longer range with more recoil, but I'm pretty sure I can beat out this guy who does less damage with less recoil. It takes into account the fact that different players have different skill levels, and it transfers it well into gameplay. And I can't believe I'm actually talking to this level about a game that on its surface just looks so simple. It's just so... You really have to experience this game in order to really grasp what it is I'm saying about it. And I know a lot of people have tried this game. I think the playtest got 100,000 participants towards the end of the allotted time. And I know for a fact the tens of thousands of those players are going to come straight back for the next playtest. It's such a wonderful game, and I really, really hope that the next time there is a playtest, which is apparently February 20th, by the way, for a few days, if you're interested in trying out the game, then please try out this game. You got to experience this. If they can do a lot of work over a couple of weeks, imagine what they can do for over a month. If they can live tweak a game over a day, a month for these guys is a haven. in a time when your patch notes just simply don't reflect what's in the game, or developers just don't have a clue how to fix a game or make a game work as intended or make it fun or balance it correctly, when they're overcomplicating everything, Battlebit Remastered is a glimmer of hope. It's a ray of sunshine, it really is. And I'm not just saying that because I enjoy the game. I'm saying it because I felt a level of satisfaction and a compelling nature to play and just keep unlocking stuff and keep grinding stuff out and keep learning how different weapons work and how different maps flow. And sure, a lot of maps need a bit of work. The vehicles right now on some maps, oh boy. And yeah, I think a lot of people can agree with me on that, but I also think that an easy way to counter it is just to make things a little tiny bit more obvious for newer players. Like the reload system, it has changed, but it's not really that well explained in my experience. Maybe I'm just dumb, or maybe I'm just not used to it, but I think it could do with a little bit more of an explanation. The RPGs could do with a little bit more of an explanation, especially how to get them, because the class system isn't super well defined either. But again, it's a playtest, and I can overlook the fact that these things aren't given as much time as general map flow or overall balance, but it's just something to think about. Like it's something to consider, that this game will give newer players a little bit of a better chance to compete in a game where a lot of people have unlocked a lot of stuff. And I cannot, again, commend the developers enough for the work they've done here. It's incredible. And I'm not going to call it a Battlefield killer or a COD killer. It's just going to be its own thing that is so fun to play. And it might not be breaking bounds for people who play games like this more, but it sure as hell breaks bounds for players like me who get excited for a video game, get the video game, whoops, video game is bad, guess I have nothing else to play, I'll go play Euro Truck Simulator 2 for 50,000 more hours, This game is incredible. Pick it up next time it's on a playtest, pre-order it now. The original price was going to be $20, but they actually shrunk it down because of how popular it was and how many people wanted to play it. That's something that you don't see these days either. Just a straight price decrease because of how popular it is. And as far as I know, there's no pre-order bonuses. There's no bonuses for doing it. You just get the game. And this is the game. Well, there might be new content coming later down the line, or, maybe they haven't shown us everything. The fact that we get to playtest this much for this length of time, this game is going to be a major success. And if it isn't, I'm going to eat my own hat. I swear to God. This game is going to change the way that we look at games from a simple design perspective. If a game can pull this off, and it's low poly like this, if a game can do what this game is doing, I think it's time for the titans of AAA to look at themselves and go, damn, we really messed up over the last few years. We really got to rethink what we're doing. And so I've basically just gone into another ramble about why this game is so good. If I've actually given you reasons to play this game, good for you for understanding what I'm saying. Please pick this game up if you can. Please give this game a go. It's something that everyone should experience. And with that, man, Battlebit Remastered is a god tier game. I will see you guys in the next video when I make more sense and stop getting so distracted by how good this game is. Oh my god.